Shalom. Salaka, man. I just ate, so just bear with me real quick. Hold on. There we go. Messing up for a quick second. All right. Shalom. Giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which rule well. All right. Peace and much love, honors and blessings, salutations to the elect of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which hold their conduct, composure, and integrity. All right. Just doing another live real quick. As you see the title, which I was going to name it a number of things. Basically, you know, if this is what you need to hear to do the work, well, then I'll give you a couple of examples. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of brothers that can give you testimonies of certain things that you shouldn't do in this truth, you know. And me personally, man, I feel like a brother that I can give you a lot, you know, and it's embarrassing, you know, because, you know, when you come into this truth, you want to be the best that you can be, you know, and it really doesn't work out like that the entire time, you know. But I'm gonna just go ahead and get right into it, man. But it would come around late 2009, well, actually early 2010, at the start of 2010. You know, I'd been in the truth already for about a year and a half. And we had been preaching, me and the brother that I was with at that time back in San Angelo. And the brother had a vision about me, basically falling out. And he said that in the vision, he was yelling at me to, come on, let's go. You know, Yakuwal, let's go. We got to go. And I think he's saying like we had to go and preach, something like that. And he said that in the vision, I said no. And basically he started cussing me out and I started bucking up against him. This was a vision. Well, I was at this job at this one point in time. It was a car wash. And it was just, you know, just degenerate motherfuckers that I was working with, man. You know, like really bad company. There's a bunch of Mexicans, you know, I was with. Just, like I said, very bad, you know, gangbangers. And that's what I was working with. And one day, you know, I was working on a Saturday, and that was a day that we would go out. I would go to work, get off about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and go straight to preach. Well, one day, you know, just as time was going on, I had already felt discouraged. I didn't feel like I was a good representative for the Lord, and I got discouraged. I got embarrassed. I got ashamed. Felt like I didn't know what I needed to know, or I wasn't where I should be. And so one day the brother, you know, he called me, and I think actually, you know what? I think I called him. I called him and I told him, I'm not going to be able to make it out today, man. I'm getting out of work late, blah, blah, blah. And I think I was lying. That's the thing. I think I was lying to the brother. And he immediately discerned that I was lying to him. You know, he immediately discerned that I was not being honest. I'll say that because I believe I'm pretty sure I was lying to him. That he picked up that that the excuse that I gave was not true. And so he starts cussing me out, and he already grabbed to the fact that I was about to go chill with these fucking dudes that I was working with rather than go do the work. So he starts cussing me out, and he's telling me, we're fucking going out to preach. Get your fucking shit. We're going out. He starts cussing me out. then just like that vision that he said he had, I bucked up. I said, no, I said, like, fuck that, man. Like, I'm not going out. I am not fucking going out today. I just can't. Like, I just can't. I can't do it today. And I told him, like, I'm not strong, man. I'm not able to do this. And it got to a point where he's cussing me out, and that was a day where I stopped going out to do the work. We've been going out already for about a year and a half. And I had, like I said, in the vision, he had a vision of me falling out. Now, I do understand, and I do believe to this very day that this happened for a certain reason, and that the reason that I discerned it is accurate, because growing up, coming up to the point where I came into the truth, I lived a pretty preserved life. My parents were wealthy. I grew up in Edomite fashion, and I had experienced a few things here and there, but nothing that was life-changing. So I left my house at 18 years old. I left. I was on my own. I was homeless for a little bit. I ended up moving from apartment to apartment with a bunch of just degenerate people, and I was getting into the mix of bad things. But I hadn't really experienced enough, enough to give me a strong integrity. And when I fell out in early 2010, which the process took about, man, it felt like forever. It felt like years, but the process only lasted about 7 months. And I say 7 because it's literally what it was. I fell out of this truth for about 7 months. And in that 7 months, I did a lot of shit. But the main thing that I didn't do was I was not doing the work. Okay? I stopped doing the work for about 7 months. And I got in the mix of really bad shit, man. And the thing I was going to say was that I can personally sit here on this video or on any video, and I can personally tell you that I know what it feels like to bug out. All right? Because that happened to me in 2010. And it was all because I stopped doing the work. All right? I told I told younger bros, man, because we had to correct some, and I told him, like, look, bro, you don't want to know what it feels like to fall away. Like, you really don't want to know what that shit feels like. You don't want to know what it feels like to lose the spirit. And I told him, because I personally know what that feels like. I can tell you that I know what it feels like. All right? Just imagine everything being just depressing. Imagine having knowledge or having gained a certain amount of knowledge, and you got to witness yourself profane yourself. You got to witness yourself do things that 100% are wrong. And having the understanding that the power that gave you this knowledge is going to fuck you up and kill you for it. And I will tell you this, in that time that I fell away and stopped doing the work, the Lord did jack me up. I have a testimony to tell, man. I got smashed into with my feet into a 64-ton pulling chain at that car wash job. These car washes, how they pull the car with a chain? That chain had caught my foot, and it grabbed both my feet and pushed, and it was smashing me in between this heavy ass Silverado truck. And where I was standing, I was the detail. I was drying down the truck. And about 6 feet to my left, where the truck was rolling, was where the chain would roll back under and come all the way back around to, do its circle or its cycle. So while this truck and chain is pulling my feet and smashing me, and I'm screaming in fucking pain and agony, what felt like an hour was only like 45 seconds to a minute. But I'm there pinned in between this truck and the chain, and it's smashing my feet, bro. Like the space that it had for, feet or anything to go in between is like that big. So the big part of my foot is in there, man, crushing me. And I'm yelling I'm yelling, cusses, just like I'm really fucking yelling. Everybody can hear me. Everybody. I'm pounding the hood, and one of the guys comes in, and he turns the button, or he presses the button to stop the truck, and he gets in the truck and he starts spinning the tires on my feet, and I'm just stuck there, just like I'm going to black out. And I did. I actually blacked out. He took the truck. He got it over the bearings that was pulling it. And I fell to the ground and blacked out. 2 guys had to help me up. So the Lord did jack me up when I wasn't doing the work. I did other stuff that I'm not going to really, confess as far as, on this, because I want to hold a certain vibration behind this video, man. But you can imagine, man, I did a lot of shit. All right. I did a lot of defiled and unclean things when I had fell out. And the thing that I was doing was I was begging. I was begging the Lord. I was begging Yahushua every day. I was crying every day, for him to forgive me, to forgive what I had did. And every day that I wasn't doing the work, man, I got worse. I got really fucking bad, to the point that I had made the decision that I was going to kill myself. All right. And the reason, and Yahweh Shai knows this, man, and no other man can try to say that I'm saying this for, to try to appease the audience, and, because, that's where that's what you need to think. So I got to take, no, the reason why I decided I was going to kill myself when I had fell out was because I had agreed to myself that I had failed Yahweh Shai. I had failed the Lord, and I could not get back up. So I told myself that I was going to do a certain thing that was going to just kill me off. It was going to, certainly, it's going to kill me. And, my body, everything had changed. You could tell I was bugged out. My demeanor was sucked in. I looked like how they depict demons, man. And, bro, it was terrible. Like I said, I know what it feels like to bug out. I know what it feels like to be hopeless. And that's what I experienced that in the beginning of 2010. Like I said, I fell out. I stopped doing the work. It was so bad that, and there's an elder out there who knows what I went through, who knows what I did, because the brother that I was with was letting that brother know what I was going through. And they both, were getting sick to their stomach, damn. Like, bro, Salaka, man, I'm getting a little choked up from it. But there was one night that I went to the bro back in San Angelo, man. I went to his house. This was at like 3 a.m, which, now that I realize it's demon hour. I walked all the way from one side of the town all the way to his house, all the way to the other side of the town at dark, at night. And I knock on his door, and he comes out. His face is looking manly. He's looking like he got the spirit on him, man. And he sits down, man, and he suffers to talk to me. Because he wasn't supposed to be talking to me, man, but because of the relationship we had, he suffered to talk to me at 3:30 in the morning. And he asked me what's going on and this and that. And I'm sitting there, man. And he starts talking to me, trying to help me with the scriptures. He's trying to heal me. And a demon ends up possessing me. I can remember what happened, man. There was a demon on me when I was sitting right next to him. Because at that time, the company that I was around and this and that, I was always carrying a knife on me. And I remember I took the knife out. I took the knife out from my pocket. And as the brother's talking and reading scriptures to me and telling me that I got to get up, I start cutting my fucking arms, bro. Like, this shit really happened, man. This all happened to me in the beginning of 2010, man. I start cutting my arms while he's talking, and I could feel my eyes I could feel my eyes going going back, and I'm just like that, just, like, it almost felt like I was falling asleep, but I'm cutting my arms and shit with the knife as he's reading to me. Man, I mean, there's a lot more that happened, man, that I haven't even talked about. But I would cry, everywhere I was going, shit. I would sit outside on these train tracks, looking at the stars and just crying, breaking down, because I was begging the Lord, begging him every day, let me get back up and let me go out and do the work for you. Please forgive. I was praying that he would forgive me for what I did, that I stopped doing the work. And, eventually I did, but I had buried myself deep in the pollution of the world. I went back into the world, man. That's what, you got to understand. When I fell out at the beginning of 2010, I went back to the world, man, and I started doing a lot of that shit that, now mind you, the people I was chilling with, they were gangbanging. So you can assume and put together what gangbangers are always doing, And even these I don't even want to call them real gangbangers, but they were, they were banging, they were holding sets and shit. But they could tell, like, I wasn't part of their world. This is something that I've told brothers before. Like, they could tell that I didn't belong there, man. And I always use that reference, like the movie ATL, if you ever seen it. That one learned nigga that, is trying to go to college. He ends up, trying to get a recommendation from Nunu's dad. Like, that's how it was, man. Like, I was rolling with T.I., but I didn't belong with T.I. So, these men that I was affiliating with around and shit and doing shit with, they could tell, like, bro, what was it? Oh, so let me tell. All right, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna be humble about this, man. What I'm about to tell you, hey, man, the Lord will judge me for it, But I believe He gave me mercy because I've been continuing ever since. Lord willing, He gave me mercy. I always pray that Lord willing, He forgive me for what I did. So I had a vision a week before, because I lived with this dude who was actually an Edomite, but he looks like a pure fucking Mexican. Looks pure Mexicano, Latino. And me and him had a different. We were gonna fight because he did some shit to me, man. So we were gonna fight, but he had his little crew roll up, and I was like, you know what? All right, whatever. I'm gonna catch you, whatever. So I come back one day and I do some shit. I fucked this whole house up, everything, and you knew it was me. And I told him, yeah, it was fucking me, bro. Like, come and meet me. So I go back to the house. Well, I was staying at this woman's house who, she was part of the gang and, all this and shit. She was banging and everything for the females and everything, whatever. She was a chola, basically. And I was staying with her, and I had a vision a week before I went back to the dude's house that I lived with. I had a vision that I walked into that house that I was going to go back to, and I walk into the kitchen, and the dudes that I was chilling with at the time, they were all standing around the table, smoking, doing certain, drugs. And I had a dream, in the vision, I ended up taking a hit from the blunt, and one hit from this other shit. And then I remember I walked away from the table in this vision, and the vision ended. Well, about a week later, after I had that vision, this vision played out. I went to the house. I walked into the kitchen, and they were standing around the house just like they were in the vision. Or they were standing around the table just like they were in the vision. And they all looked at me. They all stopped. They looked at me. And I was like, what's up? What's going on? And one of them came to me. He's like, bro, you ain't got to do this. Because they could tell I was battling something, man. They could tell this nigga he's like that Haitian that got shot. They said that he was battling the devil before he got shot. They could tell I was going through something, phenomenal and extra, whatever, it's supernatural. They said, bro, you're going through something, man. Like, we don't know what it is, but we can feel it, So that guy, he walked up to me and he's like, you ain't got to do this. Like, just go sit down. Let us do what we want to do, but you just chill, bro. Just have just relax and And I said, nah, fuck that, man. Let me do it. I'm good, bro. What's up? Like, and I said, quit being a bitch. That's what I said to him. Quit being a bitch. So I ended up doing exactly what I did in that vision, man. I took one hit of that blunt. I took one hit of this, from the tool. So now you know what the tool means. And I remember I turned around from the table. I walked away, and it was instantly dark. And there was company in the kitchen. Like, I shit you not, man. I'm not fucking crazy. But the two females that were chilling with us at the time, they were sitting down there. They were chilling. They were all smoking and shit. And it was dark. And I walk out of the house, and I blacked out. That's why the dream ended. I blacked out in a full rage. And because I was so fucking mad at what I did. So I went around to the fence because I didn't want to fuck anybody up in the house. I didn't know what I was going to do, because I had agreed that same night that I was going to end my life too. I was going to get into some type of shit. I was going to go on a spree, in my life. So I go around the house where there was a fence, and I start just, fucking it up with my, I just start punching into it, trying everything to just break all the wood pieces up. And the wood breaks, and this big fucking splinter just goes right in this finger. It just goes right in there. So I don't stop though, but that splinter's in there just sticking out like this out of my fucking finger. And so I start kicking the wood, trying to just exhaust myself to just stop fighting, just trying to do anything possible to get all that rage out. So I'm like, this ain't doing nothing. So I turn around and I go walk onto the highway. Well, the cars are all driving, and I walk across the highway, and I'm flicking everybody off. I have my finger like that. Everybody's driving past me, and I'm just walking across the highway. And one dude gets out, and he tries to square up. But then I forgot, like, oh shit, I got my fucking finger. My finger is just dripping blood. My whole hand is just bloodied up right here because I have the scars. Well, my hand's just tore up. I think I broke a knuckle. I was pretty sure I broke my knuckle at that time. I had to get it wrapped. I ended up in jail like 2 days later. I'll tell you about that too, because this is all what happened to me when I stopped doing the work. So dude, he rose up, he tries to square up. I got, I'm squared up too, and but I'm realizing, like, fuck, I'm not gonna be able to hit this dude with my right hand, so I gotta adjust, hit my left. And he's trying to, he's an Edomite though, he's trying to act all tough and shit. Well, we're about to, knock knuckles and shit, and all of a sudden you hear this woman screaming, and it's his mother. His mother was in the car with them. And she runs up, and I don't know how she did it, but she got in between us, and she's looking at me begging, please, I'm sorry. We're sorry. We didn't see you. Please. We're sorry. And she's trying to calm her son down, and she's trying to beg me to not do anything. And I'm yelling at her face, like, I'm going to fucking kill him. Jake had to stay loud, man, but we were going to do it. And I'm right there in the middle of people. I'm in public, and this is at 8 o'clock at night, maybe. People are watching and this and that, but she ends up calling her son down and calm me down, I guess, a little bit. I said, then fucking go, get the fuck out of here, and they leave. And then this is the part that I want to talk about though, because up until this time, man, I had went through a lot. I had did a lot of shit. My life was just fucking just done, bro. Like, it was like, I had agreed, I'm done. I'm bugged out. There's no way I can repent, because I kept on doing shit, man, every day. I was sleeping with my Bible. I used to always sleep with my Bible under my pillow, man. Coming into the truth, I had it under my pillow every night, or I had it in my bag right next to me. So I was doing that while I was in my bugged out state. I would go to sleep with it on my chest, but then one day it became a fucking knife that was on my chest. I went to sleep with a knife on my chest because of where I was chilling, man, what I was affiliated with. And so when that lady left, the dude and the lady left, this truck pulls up, and these two Edomites, well, they look like Edomites, they get out of the car, they get out of their truck, and they come up against me too. I'm thinking too, like, they're gonna try some shit on me, but I'm hyped up. I got adrenaline in me, and I'm full of rage. And they're trying to calm me down. And I'm not taking it. I'm not receiving it. I'm just like, nah, motherfucker, like, who wants to go first? Like, who wants some? And I'm yelling at these Edomites. I'm telling them, like, y'all gonna fucking die for what y'all did. You white people are gonna pay for what you did to our people. Like, you ain't paid for the fucking slavery and the hell that you put on us. You're gonna pay. Your whole fucking country's gonna be burned up. I'm telling these two Edomites to their face, you're gonna die. And for some reason, they keep on trying to calm me down. They're like, do you need help? I was like, no, I don't want no fucking help. I just want to go home. I'm yelling at them. I just want to go home. Shit. And they just, I don't know, man. This is what helped me believe and know that they were angels. Because when I had said, I just want to go home, my home was right across the street. So, obviously I was talking about the kingdom at the time. And they calmed me down, and they were like, you say you believe in what you believe, right? I was like, yeah. You say you want to keep on doing what you got to do, right? I was like, fuck yeah. And then the guy said it. He goes, he sent us to stop you from what you're about to do. And that's when I stopped, bro. Like, Shit. Like I almost damn near cried. I was on a full rage, man. And as soon as he said that, I stopped. My entire composure dropped, and I stopped talking. Because he said he sent us to stop you from doing what you're about to do. Because I was gonna go do something, man. I told you I was gonna find a way to get shot by Esau or something, man. Because I was actually on my way to across the street to one of the restaurants where I had been kicked out from for some shit. And I was gonna go across the street and start some shit with this dude who tried to start some shit with me, man. So, I was hell bent, man. And I calmed down. I stopped. I ended up going home that night. I went to sleep, and then shit did continue, man. Bad things did continue to happen to me for a little bit longer. Like I said, I ended up in jail. The scriptures talk about contending for the faith. It never says to contend for the wicked, and that's what I did. I took the blame for one of these guys. I was driving his car. I was driving him home because he was too fucked up. And I said, I'll drive you home and I'll just walk. Well, what about you? I don't care. I said, I don't give a fuck. I can get home. So I'm driving him, and we get pulled over because he had a pearl Malibu, had some 22s on it, shiny ass rims, looked like a Mexican or a black person would be in it, right? We get pulled over by the police, said one of our lights on the license plate was out. The woman comes back, and as she's running our plates and shit, and I'm sitting there, I seen something shine right here in the console, and I'm like, fuck, it's a fucking pipe. And I was like, don't move it, bro. She won't see it if you don't move it. Well, she comes back and she says, do I smell cologne? And I go, we're men. This dumbass, which his name was the same name as mine, he starts moving this shit, and the pipe gets, the weed pipe, whatever, what do you call it, the metal ones, the pipe, it was right there. I was like, God fucking damn it. So he moves it, and the shine, it just glistens, bling, and she sees it, step out of the car. So he starts crying and shit like a bitch. I had to calm him down, and the cops are questioning me like, we know he's high as a fucking kite. What about you? And I'm like, whatever you find, just put it on me. Whatever you find in his shit, just put it on me, let him go. Well, they arrested both of us, this and that. I ended up snapping in jail too, and it was to the point the cops had to almost restrain me because I fucking snapped. I'm like, fuck this shit. It ain't fucking this is not where I'm supposed to be fucking at. And they're like, Rodriguez, calm down. I'm like, fuck you. So like you can tell my behavior, man, was off. I was a loose cannon like Jake is today. Well, the Lord worked a miracle, man. He did get me out. But from that time, I stopped staying at this house again, and I ended up at that woman's house again. And she said she would take care of me. She's like, I want to take care of you. And I stayed there until, when I started going around the bro that I was with in Texas, he was still, he was preaching. So I would go meet him. I made it my diligence to make sure that I could catch him, to watch and listen. And I was diligent, man. Every time I made sure that I got to the ministry, or I got to his camp to listen to him preach. And I would stand there for all the hours that he was there, every single weekend. And then he asked me one day, because this brother went through his own stuff, but he asked me one day because I'd seen him trying to leave before I could get to him. But that's another story. But I got in his car and he asked me, what does it feel like to fall out? What does it feel like while it feels like you're bugging out? And I described to him exactly what happened, or what it felt like. I said, everything is sad. There's nothing good. Everything comes off offensive. Everything comes off bitter. You feel lost. And I told him one day, I was like, I know what it feels like I know what it feels like to be in the deepest hole and nobody can get me out. And I remember he was at work when I told him that. He said that he got so sick that he had to leave work when I told him what happened, because he felt the pain, He got so sick because he could hear through the phone that I was destroyed, And every day that I was down and out, not doing the work, man, things were happening to me, man. Bad things, bad altercations. I was in the mix of bad crowds and bad scenarios. And the thing too is nothing profited me. I didn't benefit from anything in it except for the fact that I was able, when I came out of it, and this is why I believe that I went through what I went through, I can now stand up with a firmness that that's not what I want. I don't want this world. I don't want to. I can now say that I went through a lot. I went through enough shit to make me to stand up firmly. You know. Now, did it stop there? No, because I've been dealing with stuff since then. That's not the mentality that I have, that I went through enough. It's the mere fact that the Lord, in this truth, you got to go through certain things to make you hard, man. The Lord is looking for real men in this thing. And a real man, a real fucking man can stand against all things, man. All right, he can overcome. But that man has to be molded. He has to be shaped. That's why we have to go through misfortune and just terrible luck, because there's no such thing as luck. We have to go through these unlucky situations because it keeps us hard. The Lord is looking for hard-ass men. That's why the scriptures talk about a man who endured to the end. It means to make hard against. That's why John, he says, a man that overcometh, that succeeds past. And that's what, I wasn't showing in the beginning. Like I said, I'm not proud of the way that I've been in this truth. I feel like I have a lot of debt, which we all are debtors. But I feel like I have a huge debt that I still have on my back that I'm still trying to pay off, And that's why after certain experiences, man, I was able to, stand up and do what is really required, because I've seen it firsthand, what it feels like to not do the work. I know what happens to men when they don't do the work. The scriptures talk about falling little by little. A man that never had, that had learned righteous, yet for him to go back to the unrighteousness, because when you go back to that state, you get demons on you immediately, and these demons are more powerful than the last. That tells you in Matthew the 12th chapter. So I felt them demons on me, man, when I stopped doing the work. That's why I did what I did. And like I said, I had no control over what I was doing. I had to watch myself, make myself unclean. Pollute myself. And no matter how much I begged in the time that I was going through everything I was going through, I could not get up. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because if you really don't think that not doing this work is something that you shouldn't be doing, I highly suggest that you reevaluate, because it is not what you think, man. It's not. I wanted to kill myself the whole time. I wanted to do certain drugs that I knew would kill me in the end. I wanted to get in the mix or a brawl and get, I wanted to off myself, And this all came because I was so upset and embarrassed that I was not doing the work. There's other things that happened, man. I ended up in jail multiple times, man, for what I did, for shit I was doing, man. And shit, women was an issue. I was getting sucked in by women. That taught me, we all, men that are in this truth, man, we all have that one woman that eventually was able to break or to have you see just the depth of the wickedness of a woman. And I experienced that when I fell out. I experienced it. But this all came because I stopped working. I stopped doing the work of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Like, you really ain't got no choice in this thing, man. If you think that slacking is the best decision, man, I highly advise you to rethink it. If you think that taking this thing as a nonchalant, practice is the proper way, I highly suggest you rethink it. If you think that you're going to be in this thing and do what you want to do, I highly suggest you rethink it. Because we're held by a standard in this faith. All right? And if you don't align with that standard, the protection is taken off of you when you're kicked out. When you're kicked out of a camp or when you're ostracized, it's different. I was alone for a while too, man. And it was because how life worked out too, but also there were times like this, I was alone. I had nobody I could call to. I had nobody I could talk to counsel me. I had to do this by myself. And it was between me and the Lord. That's why I say on my videos, hey, man, if this is what you want to do, blah, 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 hey, that's between you and the Lord. Because at the end of the day, the Lord is going to reveal what was right and what was wrong. And it's going to be through situations like that, you know? But this was all just testimonies about certain things that I experienced, you know, while when I fell out. And that happened in early 2010, man. Like I said, it took about seven to 8 months. Everything that I had went through in the beginning when I came into this truth, that's about how long it took. You know, the Lord jacked me up, man. The Lord fucked me up. You know, my feet are still bruised to this day, you know, from an injury 13 years ago, you know? And man, shit, there was other things, man, that I did, man. You know, you don't want to stop doing this work. You really don't. Jake needs to tell himself any and everything, to never give up and to never stop working. There's no breaks in this thing, man. And I'm using myself as an example because I tried it. I tempted the Lord. I fucked around, man. In 2010 and in 2018. Granted, you know, I was doing videos, but like I said, I don't use that as a credit for doing the work. I was making videos consistently, like videos a day, like one video a day. But that wasn't doing the actual presenting your body a living sacrifice like the scriptures tells us, you know? So this is just admonishment, you know, an exhortation. You know, every day, you know, it's 2023, man, and every day you see the decline of this place, man, and every day it gets even more dangerous. You know, Sirach, the 13th chapter tells you, man, that we walk in the peril of our overthrowing. Every day gets worse. The strength of wickedness gets stronger every day that we're here. So it'll become more of a temptation. You know, like I made a lesson about being tired and exhausted. You know, you want to pray to the Lord to give you the strength to continue through that tiredness, and you know, and to never give up. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. You know, this was strictly to give you some testimonies. I have plenty more. If y'all want more, I can tell y'all more, man, but I'm not ashamed to show what I've done. I mean, you know, only the assholes will not see why I spoke about it. But, and I mean, shit, you know, what, like Paul said, you know, if you have confidence in the flesh, so do I. Like I've walked the path of how a man is brought up in this thing, man. I know what's required of us. You know, Paul said, you know, he said, how did he go? Jews, or he says, teachers of the law, I more. I've gone through the trials and experiences that's led me to the point that I'm at now, man. You know, so you're not going to discredit my faith. You know, and hey, you want to use that saying, God can only judge me. Well, only the Lord will judge me in that time, man. But I don't hold it like no man can be like, well, that was fucking off. No, man. I take plenty of reproof and rebuke to this very day, man. All right. But something I was thinking about before I made this was that, you know, I got to stop downplaying that these things that I dealt with actually gave me experience and understanding. You know, wisdom had to try me in these crooked paths. So Lord willing, my faith is as strong as I would like it to think. And I pray that y'all's faith is as strong as you would like it to be. But there's always more increase to it. There's always more fortifying that you can do. And that's going to happen. That's going to be to the very end, you know. But as long as you stay within the standard of walking properly among Great Millstone and the ones that believe with Great Millstone, you know, Lord willing, you receive salvation. But man, there's a fine line between salvation and destruction, man. You got to walk that path precisely. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. And, you know, Lord willing, you see it as a way to relate. You know, this world can be overcome, man, but you got to trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua. They're the only ones that are going to get you through it. So, hey, with that, you know, the water for the comments. And again, Lord willing, this helps. Just continue to strive for the mastery, like it says in 1 Corinthians. All right. But with that, I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and much love, honors and blessings to the elect of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahshai, which continue to strive and hold their integrity to the very end. All right, with that, Yahweh, Bahashim, Shai, Brakatham, Kwame Sha'ala, Shalom. Shalom.